Hello. Hello. It is Friday. It is 1 o'clock, and I'm right here doing a live training for you. So, parents, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for showing up to find out how you can help your students. Today, we'll be talking about speech confidence and what speech confidence is, why it matters, and how to inspire it, because that's something we want for all of our preteens and teens. We want our students, as they grow older, to be able to be confident in their speech and to be confident in their lives. And so we want to talk today about how we can do that, why it matters. So first of all, I want to begin by just telling you a little bit about myself so that you can know why you should even listen to me. My name is Teresa, and I am the mentor behind Discern to Learn. So Discern to Learn offers classes and tutoring, support, and mentoring for students to help them in language arts and in success mindset skills. Because most students that come to me that are struggling with writing are also struggling with a lack of confidence in their own abilities, struggling with learning gaps, struggling to feel that they can have control in their lives, and struggling to really dream and actually go for those goals. So that's something that is super important, especially in language arts. This is a long process. Everything we do in language arts is a long process, from writing an essay, reading a book. And I have to admit, most students who come to me, it's not their favorite subject. So how do you keep on task and keep on doing the things you don't want to do on the days when it's difficult? Those are really important skills for young people to learn. And that's what I bring to your family and to your students on a regular basis. And I see amazing results. So today I want to talk to you about speech confidence. Now, this is something that is near and dear to my heart because it is so important for young people to be able to share and to talk about what they think, how they feel, and to be comfortable doing that. Or if they're not comfortable, at least be able to put their discomfort aside and to be able to deal with that. It is something very important. Now, speech confidence in adult life is super important. So you probably recognize that, and I recognize that, but let's consider what it means to be confident in our speech in our adult life, because we're not raising children after all. We're raising adults. We're trying to train our young people to be competent, successful, and wonderful young adults and older adults as they grow up. So in our adult life, we always have to be confident in our speech, and we always have to be able to persuade people that we're good for them. So here we have a picture of someone in an interview. So in an interview, it's super important to be able to be confident, to be able to make eye contact. The difference between getting a job and not getting a job has so much to do with confidence and being able to make eye contact, to be able to answer questions on your feet. These are all speech confidence issues. So being able to share and to speak. Now imagine in on your job, you have times where you are being reviewed and you think that you might deserve a raise and they're not offering you what you're worth. That's about speech confidence. That's about confidence in general. These things, being able to share, being able to express ourselves and prove our point, is so important. So speech confidence in adult life is an absolute crucial marker. So the people who are most confident in their adult lives are the people who have speech confidence, who are able to stand up tall, make eye contact, prove a point, be able to be logical, be able to be persuasive, and to show that they are comfortable in their own skin. And that is something that teenagers really struggle with. Of course they do. Remember the teen years? Do you remember? I remember. I remember being very uncomfortable, and perhaps I remember it so well because I keep talking to my students about it. I keep talking to them about how I felt when I would go into a new school, and I changed schools fairly regularly. How I always wanted to pretend that I knew where I was going. I didn't want anyone to ever know that I was uncomfortable. And actually, that really helped me. And I didn't know it at the time that that was a coping strategy, but it's a very important coping strategy, just pretending, because eventually we do become comfortable and eventually we do become confident. So that's just a big part of life, even when we're feeling uncomfortable or even when we're feeling afraid, to be able to stand up tall and put a smile on our face and to face that. Speeches are something that scare a lot of people, teenagers and adults alike. Everyone seems to talk about speaking in front of a group as something that is scary for them. And that is something that we really need to be able to do. We need to be able to stand up, to face those fears, to be able to pretend, to put on a confident smile, and to be able to string our words together in a reasonably coherent fashion, to be able to be confident and to deal with those situations in life. It will often happen in careers that we are in a position where we have to run a meeting or speak up in a meeting, to be able to talk to other people. And it's really important to have that confidence. It's an important skill to teach young people to do. So, so important. Now, all of this, facing our fears and standing up and smiling, all these things create confident teenagers. They create confident adults. These are coping strategies for dealing with fear and anxiety, to take our fears, to identify them, to recognize them, and then to push them aside and say, but you know what? I'm going to do it anyway, because I can. I can stand up. I can smile. I can do this. And that creates a confidence in teenagers that is very difficult to rattle. When they realize that they can face their fears, when they realize that they can do things even though they're hard and scary, all of a sudden they become able to face the world. They become able to face adult situations, and they become able to take on new, exciting, and probably scary opportunities that they might not have otherwise considered. We want our teens to be confident. We want them to be able to go into social situations and to be able to speak to people. It's so important in life. And you might say, but I have a shy teen. You don't understand. No, I absolutely understand. I was that shy teen. I was the one who was terrified. I still, as an adult, if I'm in a lot of stress, I will have stress dreams about high school. I was that shy, terrified teen. And the very best thing that ever happened to me was for my parents to just sign me up to sing, to make me stand up in front of people and do something. It was terrifying, but it was so, so important. And I learned that I could stand up, that I could speak in public. It was difficult. It was scary. But you know what? It didn't kill me. It made me stronger. And that is a skill that is so important. And you know what? As parents, it's important for us not to protect our children so much that they don't develop those abilities, that they don't develop an ability to face down fear and do hard things. The reason we are strong is because we had to face those things, and we had to deal with things, and we had to do hard things. And when we protect our young people from all of those things, we're stopping them. We're holding them back from success. We're holding them back from gaining confidence. It might be difficult, but it's our shy young people that need this more than anyone. They might be the ones that we have to work the hardest with to get there, but they're the ones who have the most to gain, absolute most to gain. Confident teenagers are able to really step out and do hard things. They're able to compare themselves kindly with others. So instead of looking at others and thinking, oh, well, they just have it all made, it's not fair, and they're just so much better than me, they start to realize that other people probably have fears and difficulties too, and they've worked hard. So they can compare themselves in a way that brings them strength instead of putting themselves down. They also are able to shake off self-doubt. So as soon as they start to realize that they can do hard things, the next time they're faced with a hard thing and they start to think, I don't think I can do it, they can remember, well, I felt like this before and I did it. It might not have been perfect, but I learned. It might not have been perfect, but I grew. It might not have been perfect, but I took one step and I did it. And every time we make those steps, we are stronger individuals and more able to overcome self-doubt and fear. Taking safe risks is so important. It's an important thing, and it's something that confident teens are able to do. We're not talking about radical risks that really they shouldn't do. We're talking about situations in life that have risk involved in them. And in order to succeed in life, we have to be able to take some calculated risks. We have to be able to step out and do those things, even though we are not guaranteed an outcome. So it's super important that teenagers gain these skills when they're teenagers and when they're preteens, because they will just be more and more successful. And by the time they become young adults, they'll be ready to fly. They can take on anything. They can chase those dreams. They can do hard things. They can push through post-secondary. They can do the things that are scary and hard and require self-discipline, because they will have practiced those skills with smaller things before. We really do our young people an injustice when we protect them, hold them back, don't give them opportunity to fail or grow and grow, fail and grow. Because it's through failure that we grow. It's through difficulties that we grow. It's through challenges that we grow. So we want to make sure that we give those opportunities when young people are young, before the stakes are really, really high, when it's just a small thing and they can work through it and they can learn and grow and develop their self-confidence. So what's the game plan? How do we do that? How do we help our young people to be able to step out and do these things? This really starts in the young years, but if you haven't started it in the young years, that's okay too. So with my children, I started when they were very young. Like as soon as they could speak, they would order in a restaurant. I would have them address the waitress or waiter themselves. Even in McDonald's, like, what do you want? You tell them what you want. Because it's so important that young people learn how to speak up, to project their voice, to be able to make eye contact. When we met new people, they were trained to make eye contact, to shake hands, to speak out and say, it's good to meet you. They learn about these social situations, yes, but they also are learning that they have their own voice. And so this is something that starts younger. If this is something that you haven't done yet, there's no reason you can't start now. There's no reason at all. Now, I did notice that when my children became preteens, that all of a sudden they became uncomfortable again. We all understand this. We went through it ourselves, that we become uncomfortable in our own skin. We become uncomfortable about who we are, having people look at us, notice us. And this is a normal part of growing up. But it's also a normal part of growing up to get comfortable in your skin. And the sooner that our young people can speak up and to make eye contact, can be their own person and answer questions for themselves and do things, the sooner that they will feel comfortable in their own skin and they will be confident. They will realize that, no, they're not going to die because someone notices them. It'll be fine. They will be fine. We all are. We all were. And we made it, and so will they. And so that's the first thing in the game plan, is just expect your young people to answer for themselves. Don't answer for them. They're their own person. They can answer for themselves. And there's nothing at all wrong with saying, it's okay, you answer for yourself. That's a good thing. It also means to them that we have confidence in who they are. So they recognize that we believe in them, that we recognize that they're capable of answering. Maybe they feel they aren't capable of answering because someone's always answered for them. And they are more than capable, more than capable. We don't give our young people enough credit. Other ideas that you can do to help your student to gain this kind of confidence is to have them involved in groups where they're sharing their ideas and they are discussing things. So book clubs, debate, all kinds of things will help them do that. In their youth group, they can share, they can read out loud. Have your young person read out loud. Maybe you don't have a reader who's comfortable reading out loud because they feel that they're lacking in that area. It's okay. Have them practice a piece and read it out loud. even if that's in your family, in your small family unit, and then in a wider family unit, then maybe in a small group setting. Personally, I find it much, much easier to speak to a huge group that I don't know than a very small group that I do know. In a small group, you can look at someone's face and you know exactly what they're thinking. Especially if you know them, you know exactly what's going through their minds. But in a very large group, you don't usually see individual faces. And if there are people you don't know, then you don't know what they think. And most of all, you probably don't care as much what they think. So it is, I think, much easier to speak to a large group, but I understand that's a hurdle that we have to jump. And, but now, hands down, give me a crowd of 500 people I don't know over 4 people I know any day, any day. So definitely, it really makes a difference, the experience that you have. So don't be afraid to push your kids. Don't be afraid to set them up with an opportunity. Give them opportunities, generate opportunities, find opportunities, make opportunities for them to practice that skill. Expect that they will contribute in adult conversation. Don't expect that when dinner's done and you have company over that they will just disappear. Invite them to stay. Invite them to be a part of what's happening. When they look like maybe they have something to say, or maybe they don't look like they have something to say, ask them, what do you think about that? Get them involved in conversation. The more we involve them and the more we treat them as individuals and as competent individuals that should have something to say, the more confidence they're going to have that what they say actually matters. At least it matters to you. And if it matters to you and you're the person they care most about, then why wouldn't it matter to anyone else? So it's so important that we give students opportunities. In my classes, I give students opportunities to not debate, because we don't follow a debate pattern, but to discuss things, to ask questions, to keep conversations going and ask questions when they don't agree with something. Instead of saying, no, I don't agree with that, that's wrong. It's more important to teach young people to ask a question. Well, what do you mean when you say that? Is this what you mean when you say that? This is what I hear you saying. Is that what you mean? And that opens opportunities for young people to have actual meaningful dialogue back and forth with other people who disagree with them. It's so important that we can have those conversations. We also talk about books, what they mean, their meanings. We talk about the things that are the messages that are in the books. What is this book telling us about the world? Is that true? Why do you think that's true? Why don't you think that's true? Which parts of this book are good and true and pure that I might want to take into my life and accept, and which parts of this book are not good and true and pure that I don't want to take into my life and I want to reject? To actively have those conversations and those thoughts, because that is going to give them confidence in the world so that they can realize that they do have thoughts, they have opinions, they just have to consider what they are. It's so, so important that we have a game plan, that we teach our young people how to be confident. And speech confidence and confidence comes so hand in hand. When you have speech confidence, it's because you're confident. And being confident to speak out makes you confident. Every time you do a hard thing, you become more confident. And that confidence allows you to do more hard things. And it goes in this wonderful cycle of increased growth. So today, I want to invite you. Would you like to learn more about how your young person can become more confident in their speech, be a better critical thinker, be able to have more confidence in their life and in their own personal abilities? I want to invite you to check out what Discern to Learn has to offer. We're registering now for January classes. If you're interested in a free student assessment and to discuss how Discern to Learn does this, how do we do it? How do we help students to be self-motivated and self-disciplined, to have increased confidence and self-agency? And how do we do that through language arts? I have a free ebook I would love to send you that explains all of that. And I would invite you to book a call with me so that you can get a free assessment of your student and where they are in language arts, and learn a little bit more about Discern to Learn and whether or not it's right for you. If that sounds like something that interests you, go ahead, pop down in the comments and say, tell me more, because I would love to tell you more. There will also be a link on Facebook, if you are in the Facebook Live, that you can just book directly onto my calendar. If you say, tell me more, I'm going to send you a link to book directly on my calendar as well. So thank you so much for joining me today, for exploring speech confidence, and for caring so much about your student that you are willing to go out of your way to learn more, to help them, and thank you for supporting them in everything that they do. Have a lovely day today, and I will talk to you again soon.